I was pouring coffee when my phone buzzed. A video message from Mrs. Langford, our old neighbor. I hadn't heard from her in years. Just seeing her name pulled up memories I thought I'd buried. The message was strange. No greeting, no explanation, just one line. "I'm so sorry about your parents. I can't believe what I saw today." A chill crept through me. I tapped play. The video opened on St. Albans Church, the same one my parents used to drag me to every Christmas Eve. The camera zoomed slowly toward the podium. And there they were. My mother in black lace, dabbing fake tears, my father stiff and solemn, reading shakily from a sheet of paper. Behind them sat a casket, and beside it, my photograph, large, framed, surrounded by flowers. My stomach dropped. No. Then my father's voice filled the speakers. "She was always a troubled girl, but we loved her, we did everything we could." My vision blurred. He wasn't just speaking, he was delivering my eulogy. "Though she left this world far too young, we pray her soul finally finds peace." I gripped the counter. My hands trembled so violently I almost dropped the phone. I wasn't dead, I was alive, breathing, watching my own obituary. I scrubbed back the video, played it again. Their faces didn't crack, their voices never faltered. It was polished, controlled, rehearsed. "What the hell is going on?" I whispered. Years had passed since they'd cut me off, since they'd stripped me of my place in the family, but this, holding a funeral, declaring me dead, was something darker. The lies spilled from their mouths with practiced ease. My tragic accident, my final years spent in isolation, none of it was true. I'd been alive, working, surviving, and they knew it. The video ended with the camera sweeping across the mourners, distant relatives, family friends, even my old piano teacher, every one of them dressed in black, every one of them believing I was gone. Not a single person had reached out, not one. It hit me then, this wasn't a mistake, it was deliberate. They hadn't just erased me, they buried me alive. And it wasn't the first time. 3 years ago, the illusion of family had cracked for good. My younger sister, Elena, the golden child, stole nearly $80,000 from the family business, but when the numbers collapsed, they needed someone to blame. I was convenient. Better one ruined daughter than two, my mother hissed that night. My father didn't even look at me when he delivered the sentence. "You humiliated us, you're no longer our daughter." By morning, I was gone, cut off, my calls ignored, my number blocked. Friends I'd known my entire life went silent one by one. I became a ghost. Eventually, I left the country, took odd jobs, lived quietly, no online trail, no noise, just survival. Still, I carried a flicker of hope, that one day, someone might reach out, that maybe, it had all been a mistake. That day never came. Instead, last year I discovered something worse. My old email account had been deactivated. Support told me why, reported deceased. Officially, digitally, erased. The video haunted me, their voices, their calm lies, my face beside a coffin. I couldn't sleep, so I started digging. The first call I made was to Aunt Rachel, my mother's sister. She'd always been kind to me once, slipping me candy at reunions. She answered on the second ring. "Hello? Aunt Rachel, it's me, it's Maya." Silence. Then, click, she hung up. I called again, blocked. Next, I tried my cousins. One left me on read, another replied with a single line, "Is this some kind of sick joke?" No one believed I was me. Except one. Sam, my youngest cousin, the only one who used to trail after me like a shadow when we were kids. He finally texted back, "Maya, are you really alive?" "Yes," I typed, fingers shaking. "I need the truth. What did they tell everyone?" The typing bubble blinked, and blinked, and blinked. Then it came. "They said you died in a car crash overseas 3 years ago." My stomach dropped. They'd built a whole story, a crash while I was traveling, too late to bring me home, a cremation, a closed casket. I almost dropped my phone. I'd never owned a car, I'd never even been in an accident abroad. Something in me snapped. I tore through every record I had, passports, visas, work contracts, rental agreements, proof that I had been alive, moving, breathing all those years. Then I checked the public records database. And there it was. Maya Dekwa. Date of death, July 16. Cause, road accident. Status, deceased. Certificate ID, ARF 91327. They hadn't just lied, they'd forged it, they made me legally dead. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. This wasn't grief, this wasn't denial, this was a cover-up. But what could be so valuable that my family would bury me alive? I should have stopped digging, but ghosts don't rest, not when they've been murdered on paper. I found the answer on Elena's Instagram. She'd gone public again. The first post I saw was a carousel of glitter, white roses, champagne fountains, a diamond that could blind you. Elena's wedding. Every smiling face was there, Aunt Rachel, my cousins, even great-uncle Theo who never flew in for anything. But not me. No mention, no memory, not even a whisper. Until I looked closer. In one reception photo, her husband stood beaming as my father raised a glass beside him, smiling into the microphone. The caption read, "To the one daughter who always made us proud." And there it was, the truth. I hadn't been forgotten, I'd been replaced. A quick search of the business registry sealed it, the trust fund my grandparents left for me, college money, startup money, my future, transferred to Elena, 6 months after my death. Legally, quietly. She hadn't mourned me, she'd cashed me in. I stared at her wedding photos until my vision sharpened into something cold and merciless. If they wanted me dead, they were about to learn how alive I really was. The next morning, I walked into a law office with a stack of proof, passports, leases, tax filings, flight records. The young attorney across the desk went pale. "You're challenging your own death?" I slid the certificate across to him. "I'm not dead, but I plan to haunt them." He hesitated, then nodded. "We'll start with a fraud complaint, petition to revoke the declaration of death. It'll take time, but legally, I don't have time." I cut in, because apparently I have a memorial this Sunday. That morning, an unknown number had texted me. "They're holding a memorial for you next Sunday at St. Albans." No name, no explanation, but it was real. And so was my plan. That night, I stood at my apartment window, city lights burning like sparks waiting for fuel. They buried me in silence, but now I had a stage. Let them cry, let them perform. And when the curtain lifted, I'd give them a funeral they would never forget. St. Albans was overflowing, cars jammed the street, mourners filed inside, faces somber in black, the heavy doors swallowed them one by one. I watched from across the road, black coat, sunglasses, invisible. It felt surreal, like watching actors mourn a character I used to be. Inside, the organ swelled, candles flickered beneath the same photo they'd used in the obituary. I remembered the day it was taken, I'd been smiling for real then. At the pulpit, my father spoke, his voice carried through the cavernous church, smooth and practiced. "She was troubled, but we loved her, she lost her way, and though we couldn't reach her, we never stopped praying she'd come back to us." My mother sat in the front pew, dabbing tears with lace-trimmed tissues like she'd been rehearsing for months. Her sobs were delicate, precise, beautiful, almost. Then Elena rose, pearls clutched in trembling hands. My sister Maya was complicated, but she was mine. I wish I could have said goodbye. A lie wrapped in a tear. I stepped closer to the door, just enough to hear it. The priest raised his hand. "May she rest in peace." "Not yet. Let us now stand for a moment of silence." Everyone rose, heads bowed, eyes closed. And in that breathless pause, I pushed the doors wide open. The groan of heavy oak cut the silence like a blade. Cold light poured in behind me, spilling down the aisle like a spotlight. I stepped into it. Click, click, click. Each heel strike echoed off the marble floor like gunfire. Gasps rippled through the crowd, whispers bloomed like fire racing across dry grass. "Is that? It can't be." A child's voice broke the tension. "Mom, isn't that her?" I pulled off my sunglasses. Dozens of eyes widened, some terrified, some transfixed. My mother's face drained white, she collapsed in a theatrical faint, hitting the floor exactly like she'd practiced. My father's wine glass slipped from his hand and shattered against the pew. Elena froze mid-breath, her pearls twisting in her grip. A glass of champagne tumbled from her hand, splashing her perfect white shoes. The priest staggered back, And I kept walking. I wasn't a guest. I wasn't an intruder. I was the ghost they thought they buried, and the reckoning they never expected to face. At the altar, I turned beneath my own portrait, the one they'd framed in flowers. I heard I died, I said softly, letting my voice carry, but I'm here to correct the story. No one moved. Phones hovered in the air, recording, red lights blinking. There was no accident, no tragic crash overseas, no closed casket because the body was unrecognizable. I pulled the folder from my coat and let the stamp pages fan open. These are my passport stamps, employment records, tax filings, apartment leases. I've been alive. I've been working. The only thing I lost was them. My eyes burned into my parents. You told the world I was gone, faked the paperwork, filed a certificate, and when I was legally dead, I shifted my gaze to Elena. She was rigid, pearls cutting into her palm. You gave her everything, my trust fund, my inheritance, my life. Elena opened her mouth, then shut it. I didn't give her the chance. Don't enjoy the house you bought with my money. The murmurs rose into a low roar. Someone whispered, "She's got proof," another gasped. Cameras were up now, dozens of them. Perfect. This isn't a funeral, I said, it's a cover-up, and I just set it on fire. My father was pale, my mother trembled in her seat. Elena stared at me like the ghost she thought she'd buried had crawled out of the grave. You buried me to protect yourselves, I said, steady, final, but I came back to haunt you, with the truth. Silence fell again, heavier than before. I turned and walked back up the aisle, my heels echoing louder than the organ ever could. The church bells began to toll. A funeral bell, but not for me. Montage. A lawyer's office, my signature scrawled across forms, a forged death certificate torn in half. A file marked fraud opened, embezzlement, false reporting. The case was alive now, and so was I. Voiceover. Sometimes you have to die in their world, to be reborn in your own. I looked out the window, city lights burning like sparks. I wasn't coming back for forgiveness. I was coming back for freedom.